Joining us in the studio now is The Sun's political columnist Trevor Kavanagh, who's here for the roundup of all the top stories of the day. Honestly, these two in the advert break were cracking me up. They're naughty boys.
We were a bit naughty.
Very naughty boys.
Trevor, let's start with, it's not really your area, but, you know, we do have a sort of rather sensational royal story going on. Now, you and I have been associated with The Sun for a long, long time. I remember back in the 80s, we did used to lurch from one astonishing royal story to the next. Then through the 90s, we had Charles and Diana busting up and so on and so forth. But this is a major royal story happening today. The ructions within the royal arena seem to have become more frenetic ever since Harry and Meghan headed for California and, frankly, as Alex said earlier, started lobbing grenades. They've caused a lot of problems, this couple, haven't they?
They have, and what would newspapers do without the royal family? It's our sustenance. But I think that this is yet another example of particularly Meghan's spite. I'm sure that Harry's had a hand in this, but I think this has got the fingerprints of Meghan all over it. And the idea that this was accidentally buried in a Dutch edition of the book simply doesn't add up. Someone pointed someone else to the existence of these names. At least it takes the heat off Queen Camilla and Princess Anne, who were previously prime suspects.
Yes, they were, weren't they?
Yeah.
I was always told it was Princess Anne.
Yeah.
So it's got good. But as I also say, what were they actually accused of? I was speculating on what colour a baby might be is not racist for a kick-off, unless, as it has been framed, they were concerned about what colour the baby might be. I don't believe that for a second. We're saying today, I don't know what you think, Trevor, that to get out of this awful situation, it would be rather nice, I mean, don't bet the farm on it, but if Harry and Meghan could come out of the woodwork and denounce this book that they insist they had nothing to do with, because if they don't denounce it, effectively they endorse it.
Well, I think that's asking a lot of the people who clearly fed this to Omid Scobie. How can they distance themselves from a very carefully planned line of attack? And this is, I think this is part of an ongoing saga. We're going to see far more of it. There'll be further books, further interviews, and they're making a living. They're actually making money out of the notoriety that they're drawing from all this. But the reason that I think the Piers Morgan was absolutely right, we've learnt the lesson of trying to keep secret what everybody else in Europe knows about after the Wallis Simpson business, the affair with King Edward, which led to the abdication. We knew nothing in Britain, but everybody else in the world knew the whole story. And I think we should learn that lesson.
And even more domestically and less royally, do you remember the Ryan Giggs saga? You know, when everybody knew it was Ryan, it was all over the internet, all over Twitter, but the newspapers weren't allowed to name it. So many people in Britain remained in the dark. And I think it was The Sun that one day sort of basically said, sod it, and just went, it's Ryan Giggs. And all the other papers said, well, why didn't we do that? I think we're in a slightly similar situation here with Piers.
Yes, and I think that why shouldn't people have conversations about their grandchild and the complexion of that possible complexion of that grandchild? It happens in every single family where mixed races are involved.
I think most British people are commonsensically minded to that end. I think those who take offence want to do so quite deliberately.